Translator, Reverie. Kurisu Linghan felt a faint stir in his chest and asked, "What sword?" "As a 10th tier spirit tool, Demon Birth Sword," the Asura Demon Emperor declared. "This is the blade of the first-generation Demon Master, smelted together with the Demon Master's martial intent, and set as the formation's eye. To refine the arm of God, the grand formation must be opened. Thus, the Demon Birth Sword must be drawn out." Linghan's lips curved faintly as he said, "Senior, you speak with such righteous fervor and such lavish grandeur that my heart can't help but pound. Yet how do I know you aren't a counterfeit shaped by the Chaos Origin God, a scheme to deceive me into opening the restriction and releasing you?" "Ha!" The Asura Demon Emperor roared with laughter, then turned solemn. "This lord may swear upon my soul. This lord is the Asura Demon Emperor and absolutely not the Chaos Origin God. If there be even half a lie, then let my soul fall forever into reincarnation and never be birthed as man for 10,000 lifetimes." A vow of the soul. This was the gravest of oaths. The higher a martial artist's tier, the less he would dare to utter such words lightly. Linghan had once been a heaven-tier martial artist, so he naturally understood that a vow of the soul could not be forged. Yet the corner of his lips still held a trace of smile. A vow of the soul could not be faked, but the Asura Demon Emperor's tale could be fabricated. Then the vow would naturally carry no meaning. Linghan weighed whether he ought to take this risk. If he could take the Demon Birth Sword and the Arm of God into the Black Tower, then no matter what conspiracies or plots there were, he could force them to submit completely. A 10th tier spirit tool was definitely not out of the question, but the Arm of God, that was God tier, standing shoulder to shoulder with the Black Tower. Could it truly be refined? Moreover, the Demon Birth Sword certainly possessed a spirit within, and the Arm of God contained the lingering will of the Chaos Origin God. To place them into the Black Tower required the other party's consent. He held no initiative. Thus, Linghan did not dare decide rashly. "Youngster, you still doubt this lord?" The Asura Demon Emperor snorted, displeasure seeping into his tone. "Fine. This lord will summon the Demon Birth Sword here. Then you may question it yourself." After a brief moment, a streak of light shot in from afar at great speed. It was indeed a sword. Its body was covered in layered patterns, and within those patterns were characters formed one upon another. With but a single look, Linghan's mind felt as though it were boiling and churning. Pain lanced through him fiercely. It definitely surpassed the 9th tier. Otherwise, that martial intent would not be so unbearable for Linghan with merely a glance. "It truly has a tool spirit," Small Tower sent a voice. Its consciousness was linked to Linghan's, and the two could converse at any time without fear of others discovering. "I am Demon Birth Sword." The blade hummed and resonated, releasing its divine sense. It was undeniably a 10th tier spirit tool. A surge of delight rose in Linghan without his bidding. He intended to tread the sword path, so he naturally longed to possess a high-tier spirit tool. If he could obtain the Demon Birth Sword, then he would no longer need to worry about the matter of a weapon before breaking through to the God tier. "Youngster, do you still harbor doubts of this lord?" The Asura Demon Emperor's voice sounded again within Linghan's consciousness. He could only use divine consciousness to communicate with Linghan. Linghan revealed a smile and said to Small Tower, "Can you help me subdue this tool spirit's true entity?" Small Tower fell silent for a time, as if weighing the matter, then said, "If I unleash all my strength, I could annihilate all existences in this realm. Subduing a 10th tier spirit tool would naturally be effortless. However, deep in my memory there is a fierce voice warning me never to expose myself. 10 millennia ago, I expended the tiny bit of source power I had recovered to fuse with you, and to let you seize another's body, I completely used up the source power I had just accumulated. If I strike now, without source power to conceal me from God's design, then my existence will certainly be discovered by many mighty beings. When that happens, you will die, and I will be stripped away." Linghan did not notice the distinction between source power and origin power. He sighed and said, "After all that, you simply can't intervene. With 10 millennia for me to recover source power, I can intervene once," Small Tower said. Linghan's expression turned strange. In 10 millennia, he would either become a god or turn into a corpse. There was no way he could wait until Small Tower chose to display its might. However, if you can bring the tool spirit into my body, I can act without scruples and suppress it, Small Tower added. In the end, it still required bringing the demon birth sword into the Black Tower. Linghan pondered, then said, "How much of the Asura Demon Emperor's words are true? I do not understand the hearts of men, and cannot judge true from false." Small Tower quivered lightly, as if shaking its head. "But judging by the divine consciousness he left upon your body, if he enters the tower, I can easily suppress him." Again, it had to be inside the tower. Linghan let out a sigh. This was the hardest part, like holding a perfect hand of cards yet having no chance to play. No matter how fine the hand, it could only rot in his grasp, leaving him deeply frustrated. Linghan jolted and turned to look behind him, only to hear a rumbling roar. In the span of only a few breaths, 3 caskets slid over as if they had sprouted legs. Ronghuan Xuan! He truly lingered like a vengeful ghost that refused to disperse. Pang! Ronghuan Xuan sprang out from a casket, his gaze sweeping over Linghan as astonishment rose on his face. "You actually didn't get infected by the demonic qi and turn into a walking dead like those scrubs?" "You didn't, so why would I?" Linghan replied indifferently. "You're saying you're stronger than me." Ronghuan Xuan narrowed his eyes, a dangerous aura leaking out. "Isn't that an obvious fact?" Linghan laughed. Perhaps for a long time yet, this man would be his opponent, so he naturally didn't mind pricking him with a few barbs. Ronghuan Xuan's anger flared, and he seemed ready to strike, but suddenly his gaze went vacant, as though he were listening intently. Linghan immediately guessed that the Asura Demon Emperor had told Ronghuan Xuan about the arm of God and the demon birth sword. "Ha!" Ronghuan Xuan quickly threw his head back and laughed. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that such a massive secret is hidden here? My silver-armored corpse didn't die in vain. Linghan saw he was already stirred, and said, "Ronghuan Xuan, think it through. Don't go throwing yourself into it as well." Ronghuan Xuan laughed proudly. He possessed the 3 Lives corpse casket, which was a 10th-tier spirit tool, so he naturally was not afraid of the demon birth sword. Even if the Chaos Origin God had once been peerless beneath the heavens, it had now been severed into 9 parts. How much power could truly remain? Besides, he was no fool. Would he not act only after seeing things clearly? Shoo! The spirit of the demon birth sword began to fly. Ronghuan Xuan immediately leapt into the bronze casket and chased after it at lightning speed. Linghan shook his head and followed behind. Though he was no paladin who cherished all under heaven, he also did not wish for chaos to run rampant in the world. He naturally had to stop Ronghuan Xuan from doing something deranged. Ronghuan Xuan was a disciple of the Thousand Corpse sect, someone who could no longer be considered human. Dark Angel. In truth, Linghan still held many questions he had yet to hurl at the Asura Demon Emperor. For example, why were there so many corpses suspended in the heavens? Since the Devil Sky Mystery Realm opened from time to time, why had it only now managed to draw out himself and Ronghuan Xuan? Could it be that through all the previous years, not a single person had ever crossed the Thunder River? Linghan recalled that demonic qi. Could it be that anyone unable to withstand demonic qi would be deemed unworthy to be contacted by the Asura Demon Emperor? He trailed far behind Ronghuan Xuan. Yet it mattered not, so long as he did not lose sight of the other. After an exceedingly long journey, the demon birth sword finally ceased. Before them, a colossal altar emerged. It was perfectly circular. Its center rose up like a towering platform, while the ground around it lay flat in every direction. Across the earth, countless mysterious, unknown characters were etched and drawn. In any case, Linghan could not decipher them. He instead lifted his gaze to the altar's protruding heart. Upon it lay a sword, identical in every detail to the spirit that had called itself the spirit of the demon birth sword. From the look of it, it truly was this sword's spirit. Wisps of black qi coiled about the sword's body, like a demonic dragon winding in arrogant twists around its prey. Cutting through the air, the spirit abruptly plunged into the treasured blade and vanished, never appearing again. "Young man, there is but one fortunate chance. I shall bestow this fated opportunity upon whoever can seize the demon birth sword." The Asura Demon Emperor's voice rang out once more. Rong Huan threw back his head and roared with laughter, springing from the copper coffin as he proclaimed, "It naturally belongs to me." Yet in but an instant, black, demonic patterns flooded across his entire body. He sucked in a terrified breath and immediately sprang back into the copper coffin. Ling Han could not help narrowing his eyes. The demonic qi here was far too dense. Rong Huan had only appeared for a heartbeat before being completely engulfed by it. If not for the 3 lives corpse caskets, then that single instant would likely have been enough for him to lose all independent thought and will, transforming wholly into a puppet ruled by demonic qi. Strange. Then why had nothing happened to him at all? Could it be because he had refined that sliver of demonic qi, causing the demonic qi here to fear him? Who? The 3 lives corpse caskets trembled lightly. Upon them, myriad patterns flared, transforming into ancient characters. Then black qi seeped out from within the coffin, faint and thin. Clearly, they were helping Rong Huan cast off the demonic qi, yet they were far beneath the Black Tower. With but a single thought from Ling Han, he could drive out demonic qi, and Small Tower could easily subdue it. After at least an hour, no more black qi spilled from the coffin. Evidently, the demonic qi within Rong Huan's body had been completely expelled. "Ling Han, why did nothing happen to you?" Rong Huan shouted from within his coffin, plainly not daring to show himself again. Ling Han shrugged and said, "Why should I tell you?" Heng. Rong Huan also knew he had spoken nonsense, yet his curiosity burned. Even he had to rely on the 3 lives corpse caskets to avoid being invaded by demonic qi, so what did Ling Han rely on? Ling Han began circling the altar and said, "Indeed, this is the core of an array, and the demon birth sword is indeed the eye of this array. If one draws out the demon birth sword, then even if this array does not lose all effect, it will at least be reduced to half its power." "Young man, I have truly underestimated you. You actually possess such knowledge." The Asura Demon Emperor's voice sounded again. "When you draw out this sword, not only will you obtain a 10th tier spirit tool, you will even gain the arm of a god." Ling Han said nothing. After a while, he smiled, then said, "No one gives benefits for free in this world. The root of much misfortune begins in greed. I do not believe you." "Why?" Asura Demon Emperor asked, bewildered. "To strike a bargain with an evil demon who freely uses demonic qi to control others, wouldn't that be like being duped, yet still offering thanks to the one who duped you?" Ling Han replied calmly. He pressed down his own greed. "Young man, you have misunderstood. I cultivate devil arts, and after I merged with the array, demonic qi naturally filled this realm. Moreover, I have already lost my body, so it is impossible for me to still hold any control over demonic qi." The malevolent devil emperor explained. Ling Han shrugged and said, "I think this situation is quite fine. Why don't we just let that chaos origin god remain suppressed here, and after a few hundred years, I should have about reached the shattering void tier. Then I'll return, reinforce the array a little, and ensure that whatever god it is will be eternally unable to make a comeback." The Asura Demon Emperor was instantly left speechless. After quite some time, he asked, "Will you truly allow such a great opportunity to slip past you?" A 10th tier spirit tool and the arm of a god, both were indeed formidable. Yet to Ling Han, everything had gone too smoothly. So smoothly it felt like a trap, stirring a fierce vigilance within him. "No, this opportunity is mine." Hong, one of the coffins, shot up. Rong Huan's roar still rang from within. "This is my opportunity, and no one can snatch it from me." It was being forced into desperate straits that had allowed him to obtain the 1,000 Corpse Sect's inheritance, and thus he had gained the power to rise again and wipe out his enemies. Moreover, a bright future lay ahead. He could even prospectively become one of the few truly powerful elites of this world. Thus, he believed deeply in chance, and believed even more in his own fortune. This 10th tier spirit tool and the arm of a god were gifts the heavens had granted him. He would never allow them to be stolen by another. Hong long long. Under his command, the copper coffin slid straight toward the altar. Weng, weng, weng. The altar activated in an instant. It was the core of the entire array, and also its strongest part. Pattern after pattern lit up, as if those characters suddenly gained life and appeared one after another in close succession. A shocking sight unfolded. Those characters actually condensed into various white human shapes, yet these humans had no noses, no eyes, and no mouths, only brilliantly lit characters covering their bodies. Hong. These character men moved together, striking at the copper coffin. Ling Han was instantly astonished. He was absolutely certain the strength of these character men was, at most, only heaven tier. How could this be possible? With a 10th tier spirit tool as the eye of the array, no matter what, the character men produced should at least possess shattering void tier might, right? Otherwise, they might as well have used 10 9th tier spirit tools instead. Could it be that one 10th tier spirit tool could not compare to 10 9th tier spirit tools? Peng, peng. The blows landed on the copper coffin, causing the patterns upon it to blaze as well, releasing black light. Not only were the character men's strikes blocked, they were even rebounded back, revealing the copper coffin's domineering force. This copper casket was definitely a 10th tier treasure. Under that black radiance, the character men needed only endure brief exposure before the affected characters would instantly dim. Yet it was unlike before, when the black light would endlessly spread and enlarge the area of ruin. Obviously, against 9th tier existences, though the copper coffin still held the advantage, it was not to the point of defying all reason. Though its effect was limited, the copper coffin continued to press forward, only its speed had slowed greatly. Ling Han's brow furrowed hard. If Rong Huanshuan truly drew out the demon birth sword, who knew what might follow? He gave a light humph, opened his right hand, and was about to strike with his blood-sucking origin gold, forcibly yanking the copper coffin back. Young man, it is fine if you do not want the fated opportunity, but you have gone too far to stop another from obtaining it. The Asura Demon Emperor's voice sounded once more, and suddenly a large patch of black demonic patterns surfaced on Ling Han's hand, forcing him to halt his movement.